Right, we are now streaming on both platforms. Give me a second again. I need to go and put the lights on and close the curtains to get the mood and to get the lighting right. So guys, just bear with me a minute. But the jux of this video is a couple of news things that are out this morning. Foreigners claiming 1 billion a month in benefits. We're going to go through that, and I'm going to talk about that because the headline is a little bit misleading, but I suspect still the number could actually be higher than 1 billion a month, if you see where I'm going. And also, our children are now to be learned about the military in school, so we're going to be talking about that. But guys, just give me a second. I need to go and turn some lights on and close the curtains. I don't know if that made any difference. Because I can't do a stream without my blue light. Right, okay, so I'm just gonna go with this article here, guys. So this is an article from the Telegraph. Foreigners claim 1 billion a month in benefits. Hang on. Got it, right. I just need to, give me a second. Let me open a Word document. New file, new, where's new? There we are, cut and paste. Oh, I can't paste, yes I can. Right. So this, like I said, guys, this is an article from the Telegraph, okay? Foreigners claim 1 billion a month in benefits. 8 weeks of payments with foreign nationals would be enough to wipe out winter fuel cut savings. So any savings we've made in winter fuel cuts, within 8 weeks of foreign payments, that's gone. Households with at least one claimant who is a foreign national received 941 million in March this year, up to 461 million in March 2022, representing nearly a sixth of the universal credits payments. So 1/6 of all universal payment credits goes to foreigners. Is that what they're saying there? Is that what they're saying there? Let me just click some buttons, guys. Let me click some buttons. That one. Good morning, Kaz. Good morning, Kimmy, 1961. Hang on, let me click these buttons a second. That one, I'll do that one, and that one. Good. Right, okay. So that's what I want to start on. And also, children are now to be taught the value of the military in our schools. So this comes now as part of this strategic defense review, where, you know, it basically comes where people are part of this, the strategic defense review that's going to be announced tomorrow. So we can only speculate that in this review, they're going to say, right, do you know what? We actually need to beef up our military. So, and I don't know if you guys have been following me or a while, or if you remember me saying this on previous videos, but a few of the things I've said previously is, all this woke agenda, it really needs to go, guys. You know, but what the problems we're going to have in the United Kingdom right now is, how do I put this? First of all, let me caveat this. I joined the military at 16. It's probably a little bit too young to join the military, but I joined the military at 16. I had a fantastic career. It opened doors that I just wouldn't have had opened for me otherwise. But back then, in the late 90s, the world was a lot different to it is now. And when I speak to kids now, and I say, oh, what are you going to do when you leave school? You know, nobody knows what they're going to do. And the sentiment among young kids, and I mean like 16-year-old and younger, and remember, I've talked about this demographic. I've talked about 16 years and younger. It's a very particular demographic. They're going to be the ones who rebuild this country. But when I speak to these kids now, like my nephew and, you know, his mates, the overwhelming sentiment is, I'm not going to go and fight for Keir Starmer. That is the overwhelming sentiment. And the problem that we have is people are not stupid anymore. We don't live in the 1940s Britain where things can be hidden. We don't live in an age anymore where the media control the narrative. People control the narrative now because of social media, and everybody's got one of these things and they can record stuff and post it online. So we live in a new world now, and kids are seeing what's actually happening to this country. So let's just put these two things together, shall we? Foreigners claim 1 billion a month in benefits. Children to be taught the value of military at school. Can you imagine? And I don't know if this is the case, guys. I really don't know if this is. I really don't know if this is the case. I genuinely don't. But can you imagine? Can you imagine if it's the case that there are people, and guys, listen, I don't know, but people who are taking more free money off the government than the soldiers are getting paid? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that if that's the situation that we're gonna find ourselves in? It's absolutely insane. Let me get in the comments, guys. I'm just conscious of quite a few comments have jumped up. Tyler Evans is saying, oh, hang on. Tyler Evans is saying, let me pin this. Mr. Tyler Evans is saying, I read online an article about how Muslims want to ban eating outside during Ramadan in the UK. Let me just try and fact check this. I can't find anything on the internet here, guy. I can't find anything on the internet here at all. I can't find anything on the news at all. So if you could, where did you see that? Where did you see that? Gemini Blessings is saying good morning, everybody. I'm saying good morning right back to her. So Mr. Tyler Evans, if you could tell me where you found that, I'll try and find it out. But oh, and then Mr. Tyler Evans is saying it was on X. Hang on. It was on X. Right, let me have a look on X. Let me do the same search on X. Again, I've got to be careful what I share, as if it's someone's opinion, then I can't share it. But it's just one of those things. I don't want to get the video banned. Yeah, okay, so I can see the article here. But it's not linked to anything. So I don't know where that comes from. It's certainly not on the mainstream, but I'm not saying it's not happening. All I'm saying is it's not on the mainstream, so I can't confirm it. What I will say though, guys, about Ramadan, when I used to live in Syria, I used to witness Ramadan with the people I was working with. It's really, they do fantastic food, and it's really nice because everybody's waiting for the sun to go down before they start eating. But look, I'll be quite clear. I fast. I fast. I try and fast at least once a week. When I fast, for example, if I'm fasting, I will have my last meal on Wednesday evening. So Wednesday evening, I'll have my last meal. I won't eat anything Thursday. And the next meal I will have will be Friday. That is a fast, guys, all right? Over 24 hours fasting. Now, it's scientifically proven that fasting has health benefits for your body. Not least because when you're fasting, your cells are I think they're in something called ketosis. And what they do, your good cells start to eat your broken cells. So any cells that are not as strong, your good cells will eat them. Because there's not enough food. If you're just nom 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 and eating your way into oblivion, then all your cells get food. But you don't want that. You want only your good cells to regenerate, and you want only your good cells to multiply. But anyway, so that's a real fast, guys. All right, that is a real fast. If you're having a massive breakfast I mean, like, if you're having a massive breakfast, like, nom, 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 before the sun comes up, if you're skipping lunch and then having a massive tea when the sun goes down, I'm just going to put it out there, guys. I struggle to see how that is fasting. I struggle to see how that's fasting. Normal people call that missing lunch. And again, like, you know, that's my perception of it. Kaz is saying, hang on. Kaz is saying they can want as much as they want. I won't be participating in their demands. Well, do you know what, Kaz? Listen, I don't want to like throw diesel on anyone's flames, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if Keir Starmer came out and he, like, you know, if there was a new law passed saying that, you know, can you imagine? And guys, look, these things, what I'm saying now, they sound absurd, don't they? But they don't sound any more absurd than people getting 2 years, 7 months in jail for a Facebook for a post. But can you imagine the situation where people are being sent to prison because they ate something outside? Like I honestly, I'm not taking that off the cards. I'm not taking that off the cards. Right, let me just jump down, guys, and get these comments. It was on X. Good morning, Kaz. All right, people talking among themselves. Four Paws, good morning. And Kaz is saying, I fast twice a week, have done 4 years. Oh, well done. Lulswale is saying hi. Debbie Doobs is saying, morning, Sean, I fast 2. Yeah, it just has health benefits, guys, right? It just has health benefits. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining right now, can you please do me a favor? In fact, you know what? Not if you're joining now. Can you please hit those buttons that help this channel grow? The buttons down below or up at the sides, the like, the follow, the subscribe, whether you're watching on YouTube or TikTok, wherever you're watching, guys, because we are double streaming now. We are double streaming now. Let me go to a couple of comments on a couple of the comments over on YouTube. Do you ever sleep? What's that US? Keep your tea at home. Oh yes, influencers. How much money was you taking in US dollars? Pretty sure we pay everyone's bills. So right, okay. So I think Dreadnought here is over in the US. So over in the US, Dreadnought's put some comments on YouTube, and we're actually talking about £1 billion. So in the United Kingdom, headlines are out this morning saying the United Kingdom spend £1 billion, £1 billion a month on foreign benefits. So this is to people we give away money to people who weren't born in this country. We give them £1 billion a month. Let me just go back to the article, guys, because it is a little bit misleading. The article is a little bit misleading, but hear me out. So the article then goes on and it says benefits claimants by households with at least one foreign. Hang on, let me remove that. Yeah, benefits claimants by household with at least one foreign national have doubled to nearly 1 billion, nearly £1 billion a month in the past 3 years. Government figures show. So. What they're saying there is you only have to have one person living in your house that's foreign, and I think all that household's benefits income is taken into consideration. Now, so I guess it is a little bit misleading because I don't know how this data is made up. But what I would say is I don't think the true figures are out, because we know from lots of interviews that we've seen, lots of people that have been written articles, that there are lots of people in this country who were born in this country and don't consider themselves British. There's lots of people who live in the United Kingdom who were born in this country, don't consider themselves British, and a lot of people, believe it or not, don't actually speak born in this country, and English is not their first language. So, but those people will be classed as British. They'll be as British as me. They'll be as British as you. They will be as British as who can I think of? They will be as British as Winston Churchill. So I think the actual number I think there should be a study saying how much money we give in benefits to people that don't consider themselves British. So you would go around, you would ask people, right, do you consider yourself British? No, I have my loyalties in whatever country. And those people, then, if we could find out how much money we give in benefits to those people, I think we would be flabbergasted. But the reality is it's going to be very difficult to make that study and to do that study. Right, let me get the comments, guys. Let's go some of the comments. Snowdrops, have you seen the court drawings from the man who drove into the crowd in Liverpool? No, I've not, but I'll just have a look at that now. Yes. Oh, it doesn't look like... Yeah, I have. So the court drawings don't look like the pictures we've been shown. Is that what we're talking about there, Snowdrops? So for those of you who've not seen it, guys, this is from 14 hours ago. Man appears in court over Liverpool trophy parade incident. So they've got this guy and he's got like massive, really wild hair on the top and shaved on the sides. And the pictures... Hang on a minute. What? No. No. It can't be. Right. Okay, guys, look. I'm just getting this information at the same time as you. Snowdrops have just put me onto this. So, the gentleman, Paul Doyle, who allegedly drove the vehicle, for Paul Doyle, 53, who allegedly drove the vehicle into the crowd of people, there's a picture, the initial picture that was circulating of him was of him standing like in front of a dinosaur or something with like, I don't know, some trees or something behind him. I don't know, it looks like he's in like a Jurassic Park museum or something. Now this bloke is blatantly bald. He's blatantly bald, guys. There's no, Debbie Doobs, I can't put the pictures on the screen. I don't know how to do it. But look, basically, right, there's a picture of a bald-headed man on, and they're claiming this to be this Paul Doyle guy, the ex-Royal Marine, 53, who drove the car into the people. He's blatantly bald. I don't care what anyone says. That picture of him in front of that dinosaur is absolutely bald, guys, all right? He's absolutely bald. And then the picture that they've drawn of him in the court, he's got a massive mop of hair on his head. I don't know, guys. Like, he's like... Are they winding us up? Are they actually winding us up, guys? Is this a wind-up? Yeah, the court drawings, he's got a massive mop of hair on his head. So I don't know what to make of this, guys. I really don't know what to make of this. Do you know what I'm going to do for Debbie Doo? Debbie, what I'm going to do after this, I'm going to take a screenshot of these two pictures and I'm going to try and put them side by side. And all I'm going to say is, and again, he may have had, like, the picture may be an old picture. That's why we all think he was looking young. But then I saw him I don't know, there's so many question marks. But he's blatantly bald on the first pictures I've seen. And then the picture of him in court, he's got a massive rug on his head. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it, guys. I don't know what to make of it. It seems weird. Yeah, but okay, so let me get the comments, actually. Let me jump down and get these comments. Yeah, so we've done that one. Snowdrops, thank you for, in fact, let me pin that. Thank you for putting us onto that, Snowdrops. I would have never come to that. Did you see Donald Trump last night? It says Gemini blessings. Yes, I did, but what? Yeah, I did. Snowdrops is saying, in response to the gentleman in, what's his name, Paul Doyle, it doesn't look like the same person. Pics look like a different person. Where's the hair come from? Yeah, look, guys, remember, this is an artist's impression. So the face shape and all sorts of that stuff, he may have put on weight, he may have lost weight, but, like, his hair, like, literally, the pictures I've seen of him previously, he's blatantly bald, and I don't mean skinhead, I mean he's bald. I mean, he has got glasses on his head, but even though, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right. Yeah, where's his hair come from? Can you put no Debbie Doobies? I can't. Lisu, there are rumours he's had a hair transplant. Yeah, that could be the case, guys. You know, that could absolutely be the case. That could be the case. He could have had a hair transplant, a successful hair transplant, because literally in one video he's bald and the other video he's got a big, he's got a big rug of hair. I mean, it's a fair advertisement, isn't it, for the hair company he went to see? Has Paul Doyle got a Facebook? No idea. I don't have a Facebook. I don't know if Paul Doyle does. The guy in the car wasn't bald. No, the guy in the car wasn't bald. I agree. And again, look, we don't know what's happening. All these things can be explained. We shouldn't really jump to conclusions too early. Right, let me jump down. Right, so if you're joining for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining, I'm just conscious that there's a lot of people have just joined recently. So what we are talking about this morning is 1 billion, almost 1 billion a month on, hang on, let me get it. Foreigners claim 1 billion a month in benefits. Now, I think that the article is misleading, but I do think the 1 billion a month is a lot lower than the actual number we spend on people who don't consider themselves British. And I do think that's a lot lower. And what I'm talking about there is first, second, maybe even third generation people that are in this country who have strong roots in another country and they don't consider themselves British. So that's what we're talking about now, guys. And also children to be taught let me just read this, guys. Children to be taught the value of military at school. The Strategic Defence Review to be published on Monday will state that pupils will be educated on the importance of the armed forces. You can see where this is going, can't you, guys? You can literally see where this is going now. And again, can you guys remember back in Christmas time when I was saying, look, mid to late June, we're going to have a big push in military recruitment. Mid to late June, that is when you're going to have the push in military recruitment. Well, it seems like we're right on track for that now, doesn't it, guys? It literally seems like we're right on track for that. Google it. I've not had a chance to watch any of the videos yet, mate, but I'll hopefully do that as soon as I finish this live. Gemini Blessing, foreign aid is out of control. Yeah. So what I'm hearing, and allegedly, what a lot of foreign people do when they come to the United Kingdom, they claim benefits, they work, and they send money back home, wherever that is. And again, this is the same as international investment, for example. That money is then leaving our country, it's leaving our economy, and it's going into another economy. So when you see all these all these cash converters and these MoneyGram or Western Unions, all these places that jump up. All these places that jump up when towns are have mass migration, like cash converters, Western Union. What's the other one? There's another one, I can't remember what it's called, where you can transfer money internationally. These places all jump up because people go to these places and they will give them the money and then they'll send that money home. And again, that money is being sent out of our country into another country. So that money is not being spent on that money is basically not being spent on local shops, local infrastructure. It's been spent on local shops and local infrastructure in another country. And do you know what, ladies and gentlemen? This is all coming from our tax money, and it doesn't seem like anything's going to get any better anytime soon. Tracy McGregor is saying, "Oh no." I think that was in response to the news that children are to be taught the value of military at school. Now, again, as I spoke about it, guys, all right, as I spoke about it before, anecdotally, the sentiment that I'm hearing from people that I speak to that are at that age, it can be encapsulated in, I guess, one sentence. Most of the people I've spoken to will give words to the effect of that I'm not fighting for Keir Starmer. Because what they're doing is kids are not stupid. They're not. Like, people think that kids are, oh yeah, you're 14, you're 15, you're 16, what do you know? But, you know, kids are bright. They understand what's happening. They're looking around and they're listening to their parents at the dinner table. And, you know, I struggle to see, where this is going, guys. I really do. I really struggle to see where this is going. But I'm ready, willing, and available, and I would be happy to go into schools and talk about military life. I've just thought of something, actually. Give me a second, guys. Bear with me. In fact, you know what? Let me, right. Somebody remind me to text Andy later. Somebody remind me when the live is closing. Say, Sean, you need to text Andy, all right? Can somebody just say that when we're at about an hour? Can somebody please just say, Sean, you need to text Andy, all right? Otherwise, I'll forget. It'll be like Tuesday, Wednesday when I forgot about it and everybody's jumped on the bandwagon. Yeah, so Tracy McGregor is saying no. Debbie Dubes is saying conscription. I don't see conscription yet, guys. I really don't see conscription yet, and you've got to understand the premise of how the Europeans are gearing up to fight the Russians, I guess, or whatever threat is in the east. So Britain has the best strike capacity. And by strike capacity, what I mean is the British military, the infantry, have that surge capacity where they can rush forwards, take control of land. I don't want to use language that'll get the live banned. Take that land and then hold it for a limited time. What Britain don't have the ability to do is hold it indefinitely. Britain don't have the heavy armor. We don't have the indirect fire. We don't have the manpower to hold ground. So the way I would see this new European project being structured is Britain would be the fist. Germany will produce all the kit. Danny Ennis is wanting to join. Danny Ennis, listen, Danny Ennis, send me an inbox if you want to join. If you want to join the live as a guest, send me an inbox and we'll sort it out. I can't have people joining, although I love people joining and I welcome anyone joining my live streams. But please send me an inbox first. Send me an inbox first so we can talk about what we're going to talk about. Because otherwise, like I've had some people, I've done it before and I've just accepted people as soon as they come up. I've had like some Indians and it just went wrong, guys. I had to close the live because I don't know how to take people off. But anyway, Britain's going to have that striking capacity. Germany's going to provide the kit. France is going to provide the nuclear umbrella. Poland and the Baltic states are going to provide the bulk of the manpower. Now, hang on, guys. This is carnage. Hello. All right, no worries, bye. Absolute carnage. It wasn't Andy. So when you're fighting and when you're doing combat operations, you have to lead from the front. Now, if Britain has that strike capacity, which they do, Britain is going to be at the front. So by de facto, Britain has to take the lead. And what would happen if Britain started to conscript people? That would dilute the potency of that striking capacity. So whereas you would have 100 people who were ready, willing, able, and highly motivated to do whatever they needed to do, if you went and put 20 people in there who didn't want to be there because they were conscripts, that would bring down that the overall lethality of that unit. What could happen with conscription? Once the main recruiting has happened and the government have got a sufficient numbers and they say, right, we've got all the people who want to join off their own back. We've got all the people who want to join who are going to be motivated to fight. What they could do then is start conscription and say, right, these people are going to be kept for another role, which is going to be pretty much like the Russians use conscripts. Debbie Dubes is saying national service. Yeah, I do think national service is going to be there. I do think national service is a good thing. I do think if you're claiming benefits, guys, and you can, I do think you should have to do something at least one day a week for the community. Oh, and then Tracy McGregor is saying, my kids don't want to have children in this world. Thank God, I say. Oh, do you know what? This is the fall of Western society, isn't it? People don't want to have children anymore, but certain demographics are banging children out left, right, and centre. And, you know, and it's literally just like the fall of civilization. But you know what, guys? Everybody has to think for themselves. Debbie Doobs is saying we should have never finished national service. No, I don't think we should have finished it either. It would teach kids respect. And then Snowdrops is saying don't agree with national service. So what we're talking about here, guys, so when I'm talking about national service, I don't actually mean military service. What I actually mean is national service whereby you do something for the community. So let's just say you live in Hartlepool, right? And you've left school and you've got no work, right? Okay, you go work for the council. You get like, I don't know, you get something, but the council will take you on. You don't get paid much money. You work for the council. And by doing that, you would learn to help your local community. When I think of national service, guys, it's not military service. It's what it says: service for your nation. Yeah, Google is saying don't forget to remind Andy. Sean set an alarm. If I set an alarm, it'll take me forever to set an alarm. I might as well just text him. Gemini Blessing, GB News are covering the topic of foreign aid as we speak. Mr. Tyler Evans, well, I think I must have missed your previous statement, Mr. Tyler Evans. Wait, right, he's saying, hang on. Right, Mr. Tyler Evans, I think your previous statement was may have been removed. I think your previous statement may have been removed. It wasn't, I didn't remove it, but yeah, I don't know. Tracy McGregor is saying they need to cap the benefits after the fourth child. Kaz is saying, is there truth rumour that all UK schools will become part of the Army Cadets or something like that? Kaz, I think that is a massive push. I think that's a massive push. I would say that's very unlikely just because of the numbers involved. I would say no. But what we know from an article in the Telegraph this morning, children are to be taught the value of the military at school. So, excuse me. This would lead into what I've said previously about. Oh, hang on. And then over on YouTube, we've got a comment. I have a few friends in the UK. They are not happy about the immigration situation. None of them. And yeah, you know what? This is like my friends that are overseas as well. Well, like on a weekend, I'll have we'll have like a WhatsApp call or a Signal. No, in fact, does Signal do group calls? Does Signal do group calls? I don't think it does. It's definitely WhatsApp. So we'll have like a WhatsApp group call and we'll all be on the videos and stuff. And mainly the guys from America, my friends in America, they will say, Sean, what is going on with your country? We're watching it from over here, and it is painful to watch. It is literally painful to watch the deconstruction of the British Empire. Yeah, Google is saying text Andy again. A guy in the queue in the post office had a suitcase full of cash. Well, dodgy. Yeah, that is dodgy, Gemini Blessing. Right, Gemini Blessing, I want to know more about this. So we're saying, right, that a guy... He was in the poster, like, are you talking like a real suitcase, like a real big suitcase he went in, like, because I'm picturing like a huge suitcase with like all 20s, all 20s rolled up. I watched a video yesterday and some female police officer arrested a guy for carrying, I think he was, I don't know how much money he was carrying, but this guy was carrying like an amount of money. And this policewoman, she said, you're not allowed to carry that much money. And I was like, what? Like, how is that even a thing? And I didn't realize that, yeah, apparently if you carry over a certain amount of money, you can be arrested. I'm like, in what Orwellian world is that from? Like, how is that even a thing? Right, Jeep, right, we've done that. Right, Mr. Tyler Evans is just saying to make a statement. I don't know what that is referring to. Right, Tyler Evans, can you let me know what this is referring to make a statement? Are we talking about Keir Starmer's statement tomorrow? I think it's going to be on the Strategic Defence Review. And then Debbie Doobs is saying we need to have kids, and I would say she's right. My daughter's 27 and has said she doesn't want children either. Oh, here we are, guys. You know, we do have this problem. We have like this fall in society. Our children are our future. We need to fight for them. We can't afford benefits for more than 2 children, says Googly, but we can. We can. We are the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We've got infinite amounts of resources. And do you know what? Do you know what will happen if we can't afford it? We'll just tax people more. We will just tax people more. That's the reality. That is the reality. So, guys, listen, if you're joining for the first time, we are talking this morning about 2 articles. First of all, foreigners claim 1 billion, almost 1 billion a month in benefits from the United Kingdom. Also, children to be taught the value of military in our schools. So we are talking about that this morning. And anything else that you guys throw up in the comments. Gemini Blessing is saying, I'm so jealous of America. Yeah, it just seems like they've got their stuff together, doesn't it? Google it, how the US plans to fight off a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Right, you know what, I will come on to that in a second. I'll have a little search for that. Kaz is saying, it's so hard for kids now. Yeah, it is. Everything is made nearly impossible for them. Yeah, it is. It's hard for everyone. It's hard for everyone. Can you imagine now, right? You're 16, 17. Oh, you imagine now you're in like the last year of school, right? You're like 6, I don't know, like you're 15 or whatever. 15 or maybe like 16 or whatever. You're in the last year of school, all right? You're doing your GCSEs. In fact, I'll text that now. You're doing your GCSEs. You know, you're doing your GCSEs. Like getting on the property ladder, owning a house, it's beyond, like, you might as well not even think about it because it's so far-fetched. Hang on, let me right, do you know what, I'm not even going to text it to Andy. I'm just going to put this on the group chat. Hang on, let me just put this on the group chat. Let me put this on, guys. It's work stuff. Hang on, that one. And I'll put a little emoji as well. I'll put a little emoji. A little smiley face. Right, sorry guys, I needed to right, sorry guys. So can you imagine now, you're 16 years old, you're leaving school, you've got your GCSEs in like whenever they are, you're September, when you're supposed to go back to school, that's it, you ain't going back, you ain't collecting $200, you are in the big wide world. Where's the exciting new industry in the UK? Where's the new innovations? All we have is literally our high streets are filled with international investment. So your high street brands, like guys, and like all of these companies are the same. So like, I don't know, Nike, Adidas, all these stores that are on our high streets, all these retail stores that are on our high streets, all these companies mostly are international investment, and they take money out, they pay the staff minimum wage, and they take that money and they take it overseas. Any profit, they take it overseas. Nothing's built in the United Kingdom anymore. We don't really have any infrastructure. We don't really have any infrastructure, industry, sorry, not infrastructure. So like, what are kids, like, where do kids go? What are kids supposed to do when they're leaving school? It's so hard for them. Like, imagine trying to start a business up now, right? Okay, so you're 16, you want to start a business when you leave school. Okay, what are you going to do? You make any money, the government are going to take it. You lose any money, that's on you. So there's no incentive to start a business. So, you know, I totally feel for the younger generation. I really do. Like I said, guys, when I joined the military in '99, and the world was totally different. Googly is saying, am I ready to watch the war in Asia? I'll try and get myself out there, Googly. I will try and get myself out there. I really will. I'll try and get myself out there with a press team or something, you know, just get myself out there and get another stamp in my passport. Gemini Blessing is saying, he was in front of me, my suitcase on wheels, and the machine counting was going crazy. And was that like pounds, or was it a foreign currency? Because I know foreign currencies, you can have a lot of foreign currency, but it doesn't really mean much. And Google is saying we could see the biggest blockade on a country in any part of history, which is Taiwan. Tyler Evans is saying, could Russia use Orsnik once we join the war? So, for those of you guys who don't know, Orsnik is the new Russian medium-range ballistic missile. Doesn't make any sense to me. You've got to understand the case use for using Orsnik. If there's a case use to use it, yes, of course they're going to use it. Are they going to use it on Britain? There's no case use, guys, and I've said this so many times. In fact, let me pin that comment. I have this. This is like a big trope. There's nothing in the United Kingdom that's worth sending one of those intercontinental missiles over to strike Britain. There's absolutely nothing here in the UK that would warrant that. There's nothing here that can't be sabotaged or taken out more easily by non-conventional methods. I've always said, guys, if any country is going to get hit outside of Ukraine, it's going to be Poland. I've always said that, guys. I'm not changing my mind. I believe it's going to be Poland, all right? If any country gets hit outside Ukraine, it's going to be Poland. He had a small suitcase on wheels. It was full of cash. All right. Okay, fair enough. It was full of cash. Right. Okay. So some guy went in with 5s, 10s, and 20s. All right. Is what it is. Canada is legit on fire and no support from our friendly neighbor, the US, not like we have been. Right. Okay. So apparently Canada is having big fires. Didn't they have big fires last year? Canada fires. Right, my internet's been slow. Oh, right, okay. Western Canada wildfires emergency hits Saskatchewan. Hits Saskatchewan. Am I saying that right? If you're from Canada, can you please let me know if I'm saying that right? Western Canada wildfires emergency hits another province as thousands flee. Wildfire emergency in Western Canada has spread to another province as thousands of people flee their homes. The conditions that our northern resident communities and wildland firefighters are facing today are as severe or quite likely unlike anything we have ever faced in quite some time, if not ever, said Mayor Scott Moe, Premier of Saskatchewan. I don't know if I'm saying that right, guys. I hope I'm not butchering that, guys. I hope I'm not butchering that. So yeah, huge fires in Canada. Hang on, let me jump up, getting these comments. Right, there's quite a few comments here, guys, about children and doing their GCSEs. Right, I'm literally just going to come down all these. I'm literally just going to come down all these comments and get all these comments at once, guys. All right. Yeah, we've done that one. Tyler Evans, sorry, I think my comment got deleted. Basically, could right, okay, I understand the comment now. I understand the question. So yeah, so I think we've mentioned that, Tyler Evans. So could they? Yes, but to strike the UK, there's absolutely zero strategic importance in using a long-range missile to strike the UK. It wouldn't have it would have such a detrimental effect to whoever fired it. Remember, there's enough people in the United Kingdom now that could potentially set fire to substations and do other stuff of that like. That we don't need, the bad guys don't need to send an Oceanic missile over to the UK. They just pay criminal gangs to do stuff. Where are the resources going on the wrong side of our interests? Where are the resources going on the inside sides of our interests? So are we talking about natural resources in the UK there? So believe it or not, the UK is quite a mineral rich country. We have lots of oil in the North Sea. We're sitting on the biggest oil deposits in Antarctica, and I don't know why we're not mining them. I mean, right now, guys, wouldn't it be a better world if the government could come and say, listen, do you know what? Rather than tax everyone, we're just going to go and take the oil from Antarctica. We're going to go and take the oil that's in our territory, in our overseas territory. We're going to take all that oil and we're going to start paying people. We're going to start giving phenomenal amounts of money to people. That to me would be a better country. It would be better leadership. King K Ring, sorry, I always say that wrong. Who would bring children into this lawless, woke world? Wow, guys, some of these comments here are really opening my eyes to a lot of, diverse opinions. And by diverse opinions, I mean opinions different to mine. Because when people say diversity is our strength, yes, it is. But the saying has been hijacked. So diversity is our strength. In the military, I was always my tactics skill set is infantry. All right, doing things with men on the ground. All right. Another military guy, his experience may be artillery. Another military guy, his experience may be tanks. My solution is always an infantry solution. His solution is always an artillery solution. His solution is always the tank solution. If we come together and have a diverse opinion, we come up with a stronger plan. But when people float diversity of our strength, they don't actually know what it means. Aline Hamilton, I was listening to a survey on that GB News did. More people getting dogs instead of kids. I want a Malinois, guys. I don't want one Malinois. I want 4 Malinois. People say that you have to be a special kind of owner to have a Malinois and to be able to train a Malinois from a pup up to an adult as a working dog. I want to have 4 Malinois. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to call them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I get why people don't want to have kids. That's just giving, right. Kaz, 16, 17-year-olds can't get apprenticeships because companies can't get affordable insurance to have apprentices on board. Right? I didn't know that. Again, we have destroyed one of the main things in this country, and again in the West in general. We have literally just destroyed ourselves with red tape. We have. That's why a lot of companies go to Eastern Europe for research and development to build and develop products. And then, do you know what? They just stay there. Snowdrops, they're doing GCSEs now. Right, okay, I didn't know when that was. We need to fight on, says Debbie Doob. I'm not sure what that's in response to. Gemini Blessings. And now, if you are the wrong skin color, you won't get an interview. Yeah, with active, do you know what, Gemini Blessings? I didn't even think about when I was talking about my monologue. So can you imagine now, you're 16, 17 years old or whatever, you're doing your GCSEs, you know that if you're, we know that this is statistically accurate, guys. This is accurate from the mainstream media. We know that we know that some companies are actively only recruiting people from minorities. So you're 16, 17-year-old now, you want to join the fire brigade, you want to join the police, you want to join the NHS, you know that already you're on a back foot. Because if there are roles to be filled, they're going to be filled with diversity hires, and then you might get your foot in. So yeah, all these things, and it's absolutely tragic to watch, guys. It's tragic to watch. Let me close that one. What is a GCSE? Sorry for the not understanding. Okay, so right, if you're watching from overseas or you don't know what a GCSE is, a GCSE would be a General Certificate of Secondary Education. It's your it's what you take your exams for when you're if you're in the United States, it would be once you leave high school. So when you leave high school, you would do, I don't know if you're from the United States, but when you leave high school, the exams that you do are called, in the United Kingdom, are called GCSEs, General Certificate of Secondary Education. You do those, and then depending on your grades, you get to bid for a place in a university. Or you go into the big wide world of work, or you join the military as I did. Lisu is thinking, I think all young people these days are trying to be content creators. Yeah, the problem with everyone trying to be content creators is you need to have some content behind you. You need to have some world experience behind you. You need to have done something. For example, you know, when I talk about these stuff, you know, this stuff, I started my career in '99 in the parachute regiment. The next 25 years, I guess, of experience I gathered working in every country that's had a conflict, working for the British embassies, various countries. My last role was in Ukraine as a governmental advisor to the actual president under Poroshenko. So, like, I've got a good depth knowledge of what I'm talking about, and people that just jump on and talk about these topics. You know, people who just jump on and talk about topics, they don't know what they're talking about because they don't know what they're talking about. They've never lived them. They've never witnessed it. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand the people. Quick comment here, guys, from over on YouTube. I would homeschool my kids if I did it nowadays. Times have changed and I love my dogs. So yeah, I do know that a lot of people are going to take into homeschooling, and I've not looked at homeschooling myself, but I do know that people who are homeschooling, from videos I've seen, people who are homeschooling are saying, is this all we have to teach our children? Like, how is this taking 5 days a week? How is this taking 5 days a week? Literally, like, is this all we have to teach our children? Let me jump down and get these guys. 4 Paws is saying, keep on tapping the screen, guys. Keep on tapping the screen. Right, inspect that Telegram thing I told you about and explain how war between the biggest powers is bad. Right, Google, can you tell me what it is now? So Google is telling me to, Google, can you tell me what it is now? And I'll try and find it, and we'll talk about it now in real time. New Faith Hope is saying biblical names, and yes, they were. Like I said, we were just talking there, guys, about if I was to have Malinois, I would have 4 of them. I would call them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Police said they want to favor. I'll just pin this. So yeah, like it's just insane. Oh, and I heard some. Right, let me fact check this actually, because I heard that the first. Hang on. Hang on. Right, I can't. No, I can't. Right, okay. I saw a post on X. I'm not going to repeat it because I can't find it on mainstream media. It's not saying it's not true. It's not saying it's not true. It's saying I can't repeat it because it will be fake news. New for Hope is saying, I love these lives. It gives me information outside the typical Canada-US news. I love it. Oh, thank you so much, what am I saying? New for Hope. New for Hope. That's a fantastic name, New for Hope. Google is saying, how the US plans to fight off a Chinese... Right, okay, let me just do a quick search of this. Right, I've got it from 53 minutes ago. How the US plans to fight off a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. So I'm just reading this, guys, off the Telegraph. I'm reading this off the Telegraph, so anybody who's going to complain or say, oh, Sean, that's fake news, I'm literally reading off the Telegraph. How the US plans to fight off a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. Xi Jinping wants his military to be ready to reunify the islands with Beijing by 2027. There we go, guys. Remember when I said, I've done lots of videos, and I've actually said that I think if anything happens in that region, it's going to be 2027. That's why I don't do as much stuff about it, because 2027, it's getting closer, but it's still a way off yet. At Fort Bragg, the US is preparing its response. Right. I'm just looking now, guys. There's a little infographic here. I struggle to see how. So what? Again, like I'm not a naval guy. I'm not a sailor. I mean, a lot of these things under the water. A lot of these things, I'm not even going to do that. That was a terrible joke. I was going to do it, guys. It was a terrible joke. I'm not going to do it. I'm bigger than that. I think a few of the main things that China has to their advantage is, so we're talking about a potential conflict between China, an invasion of Taiwan by China, and the US going to their aid. Remember, this would come online around about 2027. And remember, the United States, I don't believe China would do this unless the United States were bogged down in the Middle East. And I don't believe they would do this if the Europeans were bogged down in Ukraine. So you see how all these things fit in place now, but not but. So Chinese manufacturing capacity right there at the shores, guys. That is like that's a massive, huge ace in the hole for China. China are developing their drone capability to a massive level, and they're creating a lot of quadcopters, a lot of smaller surgical drones. Now, we just don't have that manufacturing capacity in the West. We don't have the ability to build drones as quickly as they do. China have also an almost infinite supply. When you're talking about manufacturing capacity, China have an almost infinite supply of munitions because it's China. The downside of the long-range missiles, for example, the Chinese long-range missiles. Thank you, Kaz, for letting me know to text Andy. The downside to China's long-range missiles is they're not smart missiles, and they rely heavily on GPS. So right now, the Chinese satellite constellations that provide them with GPS, again, guys, I don't know if I'm boring anyone, they're in geostationary orbit. So what that means is, as the Earth rotates, the satellite will rotate in relative synchronicity to that country. So it will always be above it. Now, the good thing to this is it gives you really accurate GPS. The bad thing to this is you know where that satellite is. So it'd be very easy for a coalition, for an F-22 Raptor, for an F-35 to send a missile up and take out that satellite. That technology is very easily achievable. It can be done really easy. So the next thing we have to look at, and that would take out that chain and then those long-range missiles from China wouldn't be effective because they wouldn't be able to be guided. Now, so what the Chinese are doing now is the Chinese are launching a competitor to Elon Musk's Starlink, which would act as a backup system. Once they get that online, once they get that backup for their satellite communications, that is pretty much, it makes those geostationary satellites pretty much redundant, because now rather than having one large satellite in geostationary orbit moving around, let's pretend that's moving around at the same geostationary location. What you have now is you have thousands of smaller satellites, all on random orbits, and they are very difficult to take out. And if you take out one, there's plenty of redundancy. So when they get that satellite system up and running, and be under no illusion, guys, that satellite system is a backup system for their long range missiles. So then you've got to think about the Americans moving over there. The closest, obviously, the Americans, they're allied with Taiwan. Taiwan is not a small country, although we think it is. Taiwan have their own independent manufacturing capacity. And again, you know, it's going to be a slog, but it's going to be mainly a naval slog. I don't think there's actually going to be boots on the ground in Taiwan. I think it will be all in the water. Anyway, guys, let me jump up and get the rest of these comments. So I hope that gave you some insight, Googly, to the situation in Taiwan. Over on YouTube, Dreadnought is saying, over in the UK, what is a dreadnought? A dreadnought's a battleship. A dreadnought's a battleship. We know a dreadnought's a battleship. Kaz, smiley face, and they own non-nuclear bombs the size of nuclear bombs. I think we're talking about, yeah. And again, guys, when we're talking about nuclear bombs now and like low-yield tactical nuclear weapons, you know, an explosion's an explosion. Yeah, Kaz reminds you to text Andy. Are we supposed to learn from the past, not repeat it? We need to do better. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, every human lifetime, you know, there is a big conflict. Look back through history. Every 80 years or so, there is a big, you know, every 80 years or so, there's a big conflict, and we are well overdue now in the world. Did you hear about the attack on the prison officer yesterday from a white Muslim convert, Mr. Tyler Evans? Yeah, we did. We spoke about that. What I actually said in my comments yesterday were like, if you go to prison and you come out worse than you went in, which is happening to a lot of people, like, what is the point in prison? And I know this is difficult to like. I know this is difficult to digest, but look at the statistics, guys. I'm not saying abolish prison and, oh, Sean's a liberal and he wants to. No, I'm not saying that. Oh, what I'm saying is, if there's evidence that people leave prison worse than when they went in, like, why are we sending them there? You see where I'm going, guys, right? You see where I'm going? If you want to like, imagine your oven. Imagine your oven. If you kept putting things in the oven and it came out cold, you'd be like, this is not supposed to happen. They're supposed to come out hot. Like, why is it coming out cold? Like, so my comments from yesterday about the attack on in the prison was, if people are coming out of prison worse than they went in, what is the point in prison on its own? Linda Lewis saying, morning, Sean, looks like I missed you. Well, don't worry, Linda Lou, because all these videos and streams are now being uploaded to YouTube. I'm actually double streaming. We're also streaming over on YouTube as well at the same time. All right, let me jump down. History always repeats itself, says Snowdrops. Debbie Doob says the gangs run the prisons. And Mr. Tyler Evans says, sorry, His Majesty's prison. That's a street name for it. Okay. Tommy said he has more on the prisons. Yeah, I mean, I watched the Tommy Robinson video, guys, like yesterday morning, and he was saying about this, about what happened. I can't say it was an attack now because it's come out on the mainstream media. He put that on X. Now, guys, listen, let me just, if I'd have repeated that and said there's just been an attack in this prison, because it wasn't on the mainstream media, I would have had my video taken down for me for misinformation. I would have a strike against my name, you know, and it wouldn't be good. So this is why I have to be very careful about what I say. But yeah, so this was reported on social media hours before the mainstream media came on, reported on it. If you lock up criminals with criminals, how can you expect them to change? They won't. Again, yeah, so this is from New for Hope. So, but like,
what is the solution? Like, you know, I do think the prison system, well, I would say there's a wealth of evidence to say that the prison system is not working anymore. People are coming out of prison either converted to a different religion or as an addict, says Kaz. Look, I don't know what the statistics are. I would like to look into them. But, you know, I do think that if our prisons, if you send someone to prison as a criminal, as punishment for being a criminal, and they come out a worse criminal, it's not, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start to close this down now. I want everybody just to, I'm going to go through the headlines again that I want to talk about. Foreigners claim almost £1 billion a month in welfare benefits, and children to be taught the value of the military in schools now. Thank you all for letting me know to text Andy. So there we have it, guys. You know, it is insane what's happening. With the foreign £1 billion a month bill, I think if we had if we could have the statistics of how many people are claiming benefits in the United Kingdom who don't consider themselves British. So I'm talking now about people who have parents who are from a different country. They've been raised in a microculture and they don't consider themselves British. How far does that go? 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations? You know, and how much of these, you know, and how much are all those people claiming in benefits? I'll also say children to be taught the value of military in our schools. I did a video a while ago, back in December, and people were talking about conscription. And one of the things I said quite clear was, I don't see the push for military recruitment until mid-June. This all fits in place now. This really just fit in place. Right, guys, I'm going to close the TikTok down. I'll then close the YouTube down, and I will see you guys later. Oh, just as a quick one, guys, right. I'm going to start changing these live streams a little bit. So in the mornings, what I want to talk about in the mornings is like serious stuff. You know, world events, what's happening, things that are going to affect me and you. In the evening, guys, honestly, I think I'm just going to start talking about aliens, Anunnaki, transdimensional beings, all sorts of wild stuff, crop circles and all sorts of stuff, guys. So I want it to be a little bit more light in the evenings, but if something is happening, you know, if something's happening and we need to talk about it, then of course, you know, we can. But that's how I want to have the live streams go. So the morning's going to be serious. The evening is going to be a little bit more on the fringe of stuff. Anyway, guys, I am going to go, guys. I'm going to close this down now. I'll close YouTube down in a second. I'll see you guys later. If I can close this down. How do I close this down? I move that. There we are. Right, and was fun, bro. Keep it real. Thank you so much, Dreadnought, over on YouTube. Right, guys, I'm going to close YouTube down as well. I'll see you guys later.